We sat down for dinner with my parents, then my husband leaned in and said, "We can't stay." What he? From the very beginning of my marriage, I thought I had found my safe place in the world. My husband, Daniel, had always been charming, attentive, and, at least in my eyes, deeply devoted. That night, we were at my parents' house, sitting around the dinner table, the comforting aroma of roasted chicken and fresh bread filling the air. My parents were laughing, happy to see us, and I felt that warmth you can only feel at home. But then, in the middle of a casual conversation, Daniel leaned close to me. His voice was low, urgent, almost trembling as he whispered, "We can't stay." At first, I thought he was joking. I forced a small laugh and whispered back, "What do you mean?" But then he looked at me, and I saw it in his eyes, fear. Real fear. His hands were clenched under the table, his leg bouncing restlessly. My heart skipped a beat. Something was wrong. When we excused ourselves and stepped outside, the truth spilled from his lips. He confessed that he had gotten into serious debt, borrowing money from the wrong people, hiding it all from me. "They're looking for me," he said, his voice shaking. "And if they find us here, your parents could get dragged into this. We can't stay." I felt the ground collapse beneath me. The man I had trusted, the man I had promised forever to, had been keeping secrets that could put my entire family in danger. Anger surged through me. "How could you do this, Daniel? How could you lie to me?" He begged me to understand, swore that he had only wanted to provide more for us, that he thought he could handle it. But his excuses couldn't cover the fear in his voice, or the betrayal burning in my chest. That night was the longest of my life. I had to choose between protecting my parents or standing by the husband who had deceived me. I couldn't bear to involve my family, so I lied to them, saying we had to leave early because Daniel wasn't feeling well. My mother looked disappointed, but she didn't ask questions. If only she knew. The weeks that followed were pure chaos. Daniel and I moved constantly, avoiding calls, ignoring knocks on the door, living like fugitives. I was torn between two emotions: love for the man I had once believed in, and anger for the mess he had dragged me into. Nights were filled with arguments. Days were heavy with exhaustion. And inside me grew a cold, hard truth: I no longer recognized the man I had married. Then one evening, everything came to a breaking point. We were in a small apartment, hiding out, when I overheard him on the phone, whispering promises to pay back money he didn't have. And worse, I caught him lying again. He hadn't stopped gambling, hadn't stopped chasing the very habits that ruined us. My heart shattered for the last time. That night, I packed my bags. He tried to stop me, tears streaming down his face, but I had already made my choice. "I can't save you, Daniel," I said. "You chose this path, and I won't let you drag me down with you." His silence was the final confirmation that I was right. I went back to my parents. For days, I cried in my mother's arms, ashamed of everything I had hidden from them. But instead of judgment, I was met with love. My father simply said, "You came home. That's what matters." And that became the foundation of my healing. The road to rebuilding my life was not easy. Divorce papers, debt collectors, whispers from people who had heard bits and pieces of my story, it all weighed heavily on me. But for the first time in years, I felt free. I got a new job, went back to school in the evenings, and slowly started to rediscover who I was outside of that broken marriage. Months later, as I sat again at my parents' dinner table, I looked around at their smiles, at the safety and warmth I had nearly lost, and I realized something. Daniel had been right about one thing: we couldn't stay. But not for the reasons he thought. We couldn't stay because love without trust is not love at all. Now, when I think back to that whisper, "We can't stay," I see it differently. It wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of my freedom. And if there's one thing I've learned through the pain, it's this: sometimes life shatters the illusion you're clinging to so it can give you the truth you deserve.